Every single morning you wake up, that's a blessing. That's another chance. Not a guarantee, not a promise, a chance. See, too many people walk through life like they got forever stamped on their foreheads. They act like tomorrow's waiting with open arms. But I've seen too many tomorrows that never came. Life is not about how long you live, it's about how well you live. So the question is, what are you doing with your chance? Because if you're not careful, you'll waste it. You see, we live in a time where comfort has become the enemy of greatness. Everywhere you look, people are chasing pleasure, chasing what's easy, what's quick, what gives that little rush of satisfaction but leaves them empty right after. The next like, the next post, the next distraction. Everybody wants to feel good, but nobody wants to grow. And that right there, that's the problem. Because purpose, real purpose, it doesn't live in comfort. It's born in discomfort, shaped in struggle, and refined in sacrifice. Purpose doesn't whisper. It calls you in the middle of the night when you're tired and tells you, get up, there's work to do. It doesn't ask for your convenience. It demands your commitment. It's not about doing what's easy. It's about doing what's right. You think the people who changed the world had it easy. You think they never wanted to quit. No, they bled for it. They cried for it. They failed more times than most people even tried. Ask anybody who's ever achieved something meaningful, and they'll tell you about the lonely nights. The nights when the world was sleeping, but they were still grinding. The nights when the dream seemed so far away, but they refused to let it die. They'll tell you about the heartbreak that almost broke them, the people who doubted them, the moments they questioned themselves, and still they kept going. Because when you've got purpose, quitting isn't an option. Look at Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. They said he wasn't good enough. Can you imagine that? The greatest player to ever touch a basketball, told he didn't make the team. But instead of giving up, he turned that pain into fuel. He went home, locked himself in the gym, and worked until his hands were raw. That's purpose. That's not comfort. Think about Oprah, fired from her first TV job, told she wasn't fit for television. They tried to box her in, label her, dismiss her. But she knew what she carried inside was greater than what they could see. She didn't let rejection define her. She turned it into redirection. And now she's one of the most influential voices in the world. That's what purpose does. It turns pain into power. And then there's Nelson Mandela. 27 years behind bars, 27 years stripped of his freedom, his family, his life as he knew it. But he never let the prison take his purpose. He never gave up on what he believed in: justice, equality, freedom. And when he walked out of that cell, he didn't walk out bitter. He walked out better. He walked out with forgiveness in his heart and vision in his eyes. That's purpose. See, pleasure might give you a moment of joy, but purpose gives you a lifetime of meaning. Pleasure fades when the thrill is gone, but purpose stays when the lights go out. Comfort never made anyone legendary. You can't grow if you're always trying to stay comfortable. The seed has to break before it can grow. The diamond has to be under pressure before it can shine. So don't waste your life chasing what feels good right now. Chase what's right for your soul. Chase what makes you stretch, what scares you a little, what demands the best version of you. Because the road to purpose, it's not smooth, it's not easy, but it's worth it. When you find your purpose, you don't just live life, you fulfill it. You wake up every morning knowing that your breath, your pain, your struggle, it all means something. And that right there is what makes life worth living. You can have all the talent in the world, all the dreams, all the ambition. But if you don't have discipline, it's nothing but dust. Dreams without discipline are just wishes that fade when the alarm clock rings. Talent might get you noticed, but discipline is what keeps you standing when everyone else quits. See, discipline isn't glamorous, it's not loud, it's not exciting, it's quiet, it's lonely. It's the early mornings when the bed feels too good to leave. It's the late nights when your body's begging you to rest, but your purpose won't let you stop. Discipline is doing what you said you'd do long after the mood you set it in is gone. Anybody can get excited when it's new, when it's easy, when the crowd is watching. But real discipline is when nobody's watching, when the applause is gone, and you're left alone with your choices. That's when it counts. That's when you find out who you really are. You think you're tired. Somebody out there's working. You think it's hard. Somebody's grinding harder. That's not to shame you. It's to remind you that life doesn't wait for comfort. You either prepare or you pay. And the price of laziness is always higher than the cost of discipline. Every shortcut you take today is a detour you'll regret tomorrow. Every excuse you make now is a weight your future self will have to carry. I remember reading about a man named Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL commander. He said, discipline equals freedom. And he's right. You see, freedom isn't doing whatever you want. That's chaos. Real freedom comes when you've trained your mind, your habits, your spirit to obey your goals, not your impulses. Discipline is what gives you control over your life. It's what separates people who talk about it from the ones who actually do it. You want freedom from stress. Get disciplined about your money. Stop spending like every day's a holiday when you haven't earned the vacation yet, but just save, invest. Because financial peace isn't luck, it's discipline. You want freedom from regret. Get disciplined about your time. Stop wasting hours scrolling through the lives of people who aren't even thinking about you. Those minutes add up, and before you know it, so does your regret. Time is a currency, and once you spend it, you don't get a refund. Spend it wisely. You want freedom in your future. Get disciplined in your present. The habits you build now are the foundation of your tomorrow. Every single day, you're either building your future or breaking it down. And every lazy decision you make today is a bill your future self will have to pay. Some people never realize that until it's too late. Discipline is the bridge between intention and execution. It's the difference between the dreamers and the doers. Everybody says they want success until it demands sacrifice. Everybody wants to shine until they realize the grind comes before the glow. You can't pray for progress and keep living in procrastination. You can't ask for greatness and keep settling for comfort. The truth is, discipline is love itself, respect in action. When you choose discipline, you're saying, I love myself enough to not settle for less than my potential. You're saying, I'm not going to let my emotions decide my future. Because emotions change, feelings fade. But principles, discipline, they endure. So every time you feel like giving up, remind yourself why you started. Every time you want to quit, remember that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Discipline might hurt today, but it will heal you tomorrow. It will give you freedom, not the kind that fades when life gets hard, but the kind that stays when everything else falls apart. Now hear me, you're going to fail. You're going to fall flat on your face. You're going to stumble, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to have moments where you question if it's even worth it. That's life. That's the process. Nobody wins all the time. Nobody gets it right on the first try. You see, failure isn't a punishment. It's preparation. It's shaping you, molding you, teaching you what success can't. But too many people let failure stop them. They treat it like the end when it's really the beginning. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every person who has ever done something meaningful has failed. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to keep going after they fall. When I was younger, I heard a man say, fall forward, every failed experiment is one step closer to success. And that hit me because most people fall back. They fall back into fear, into comfort, into excuses. They fall back into what's safe instead of leaning into what's possible. But if you're going to fall forward into faith, into growth, into experience. At least that way, you're still moving towards something. You think Thomas Edison just woke up one morning, thought about a light bulb, and made it work. No, he failed over 1,000 times. But he didn't call them failures. He said he discovered 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. That's perspective. That's resilience. He didn't let failure define him. He used it to refine him. And because of that mindset, he didn't just make a light bulb. He lit up the world. So don't run from failure. Don't hide from it. Don't let it scare you into staying the same. Study it. Learn from it. Let it strengthen you. Every time you fail, you gain something. Experience, wisdom, humility, grit. The problem is too many people quit right before the lesson hits. They give up before the growth begins. They don't realize that the pain of failure is temporary, but the lessons last forever. Look at the people who inspire you. The entrepreneurs, the athletes, the leaders, the dreamers. Every single one of them has a story of failure behind their success. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he built. J.K. Rowling got rejected by a dozen publishers before someone said yes to Harry Potter. The Wright brothers crashed again and again before their machine ever left the ground. They all fell, but they all fell forward. Failure has a way of testing what you're made of. It strips away the easy parts, the fake confidence, the empty talk. It leaves you face to face with yourself. And that's where the real work begins. Because when everything falls apart, you find out what's inside you. Do you quit or do you rise? Do you stay down or do you stand taller than before? See, success isn't built on winning. It's built on resilience. You don't learn much from victory, but you learn everything from defeat. Failure teaches you patience. It teaches you character. It teaches you that progress is not always pretty, but it's always worth it. You can't climb higher if you're afraid to fall. You can't win big if you're not willing to risk losing. So when you fail, and you will, don't cry over it. Don't run from it. Face it. Own it. Learn from it. Then get up and go again. Because every time you rise after falling, you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. And that experience, that fight, that perseverance, that's what builds success. Fall forward, not backward. Because even when you hit the ground, at least you're still moving in the right direction. Let me tell you something that's going to sting a little bit. Nobody's going to remember how many followers you had. Nobody's going to care how many likes you got, how many people clapped for you, or how many comments flooded your page. When you're gone, they're not going to talk about your selfies or your status updates. They're going to talk about your spirit. They're going to talk about how you made them feel, what you stood for, what you left behind. That's legacy. And legacy is bigger than likes. We live in a world where people are starving for attention and dying of emptiness. Everyone wants to be seen, but not everyone wants to serve. Everyone wants to be famous, but not everyone wants to be faithful. See, the danger of this generation isn't that people don't have dreams. It's that their dreams are too small. They want to be known, but they forget to be needed. They want to impress, but they forget to impact. Legacy isn't built online. Legacy is built in the lives you touch. It's in the love you give when nobody's watching. It's in the kindness you show when there's nothing in it for you. It's in the people you lift when you could have just walked away. The likes might fade, the trends might die, but the love you give, that's eternal. That's what people remember when your name comes up in a quiet conversation years after you're gone. You want to know what legacy looks like. It's a teacher who stays after class to help a struggling student believe in themselves. It's a mother who works 2 jobs but still finds the time to hug her kids before bed. It's a friend who shows up when you've got nothing to offer but your pain. That's legacy. That's impact. You don't need 1 million people to know your name. You just need to change one life with your heart. Because if you can do that, you've already done more than most. Don't waste your life chasing applause. Chasing applause is like chasing smoke. It looks solid until you reach for it, and then it disappears. You can't build your worth on people's opinions. They change too fast. Today they'll cheer for you. Tomorrow they'll forget you. But when you live with purpose, when you live with compassion, when you live with integrity, that outlasts everything. Think about it. When the lights go out, when the cameras stop rolling, when the world moves on, what's left? The only thing that'll still echo your name is the good you did for others, the way you inspired someone to keep going, the way you forgave when you had every right to stay angry, the way you gave when you had every reason to hold back. That's what sticks. That's what endures. There's an old saying, your life is your message. Every day you're writing it with every choice, every word, every act. So what are you writing? What will people read when they remember you? Because you don't have to be rich to leave a legacy. You don't have to be famous to make a difference. You just have to care. You just have to show up. One day, the likes will fade, the phone will stop buzzing, the platform will change. But your character, that stays. Your compassion, that spreads. The seeds you plant in people's hearts, those grow long after you're gone. So live in a way that when your name is mentioned, people don't think about your success, they think about your significance. Don't chase attention. Chase purpose. Don't live to be seen. Live to be remembered, not for what you had, but for what you gave, because that's legacy. That's what lasts forever. Now, I don't know what you believe in, but I do know this. There's a higher power guiding every single step you take. You didn't show up on this earth by accident. You're not a coincidence, and you're not a mistake. You were designed with intention, crafted with purpose. There's something special inside you that the world needs, something that was placed in you long before you even knew who you were. And when you start to walk in faith, when you start to live with gratitude, you begin to see life differently. The things that used to frustrate you start to teach you. The things that used to scare you start to strengthen you. Faith isn't about seeing the whole staircase. It's about taking the first step when you can only see one. It's trusting that even when you can't understand what's happening, there's meaning behind it. And that's where gratitude comes in. Gratitude changes your perspective. Gratitude turns I have to into I get to. Gratitude turns your chaos into clarity. Because when you start living in gratitude, you stop focusing on what's missing and start appreciating what's already there. Every breath is a gift. Every single one. Somebody didn't wake up this morning, but you did. Somebody's praying for the life you're complaining about. You may not have everything you want, but you've got enough to start building. Every struggle you faced, it's been a teacher. You might not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the pain that tried to break you was actually shaping you. The heartbreak, the disappointment, the delay, all of it was pushing you closer to who you were meant to be. Sometimes what feels like a setback is just a setup for something greater. You lose a job, and it feels like the end of the world. But maybe it's the universe making room for the opportunity that fits your purpose. You go through heartbreak, and it feels unbearable. But maybe it's clearing space for the love that will honor your soul. See, faith doesn't always change your situation, but it will always change you. It gives you peace in the middle of the storm. It gives you strength when you're tired of fighting. It reminds you that even when life feels out of control, it's never out of order. Don't waste your life waiting for perfect. There will never be a perfect time, a perfect moment, a perfect plan. Start where you are with what you have and trust that what's meant for you won't miss you. Too many people spend their whole lives waiting for the right conditions, the right connections, the right confidence. But faith says, move now. Go anyway. Believe first. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the first step. You just need to trust that when you move, the way will appear. Gratitude and faith walk hand in hand. Gratitude grounds you. Faith guides you. One keeps you humble, the other keeps you hopeful. When you start your day with a thankful heart, you stop chasing what doesn't matter and start noticing the miracles right in front of you, the air in your lungs, the people who love you, the strength that carried you through your hardest days. So live with faith even when it doesn't make sense. Be grateful even when it's hard, because faith without gratitude becomes blind, and gratitude without faith becomes empty. But when you hold them together, you find peace, you find power, you find purpose. And when you trust that everything you go through has a reason, you stop fearing what's next and start appreciating what's now. So hear me one last time. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your gift. Don't waste your chance. You don't get another you. You don't get another today. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. The clock is ticking, whether you're ready or not. And the truth is, time doesn't wait for anyone. It doesn't pause for your fear. It doesn't slow down for your doubt. You can stand still if you want to, but the world keeps moving. The question is, will you move with it, or will you let your moment pass you by? There's something inside you that the world needs, something only you can give. But it's up to you to bring it out. Nobody's going to hand it to you. Nobody's going to chase your dream for you. Nobody's going to fight your battles. That's on you. You can pray for it, wish for it, hope for it. But until you decide to work for it, it stays a dream. The only person who can stop you is you. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your failures. You've got to stop waiting for the right time and start making the time right. You've got to stop blaming the world and start building your own. Get up, get focused, get moving. Because there's something powerful that happens when you decide to take control of your own story. when you stop asking for permission and start giving yourself direction. When you stop doubting your worth and start walking in your purpose. You were not born to be average. You were not put here just to survive. You were born to impact, to inspire, to make a difference in the space you occupy. And I don't care how small that space seems, your light can reach farther than you think. Maybe it's your kids watching you push through struggle. Maybe it's a friend who finds strength in your persistence. Maybe it's a stranger who sees your courage and remembers that it's still possible to rise again. You might not even see the lives you touch, but they're there. Every act of faith, every step of discipline, every word of kindness, they echo. They ripple out into the world long after you've moved on. That's how impact works. The world is waiting for people who will stand up and live like their life matters. People who won't settle for mediocrity when they were built for greatness. People who won't fold under pressure but will rise through purpose. You've got to decide, are you going to blend in or are you going to break through? Because comfort never created change, and fear never built anything worth remembering. Every great story begins with a decision. One moment when someone said, enough. I'm done waiting. I'm done doubting. I'm done wasting time. Maybe this is your moment. Maybe this is the time you stop watching from the sidelines and start stepping into your calling. Don't let another day pass wondering what could have been. The clock is ticking, and your story is waiting to be written. So stand tall, shake off the fear, silence the doubt. You've got everything you need inside of you. Strength, courage, purpose, and grace. Use it. Live it. Walk it out. Because life isn't about how much time you get, it's about what you do with the time you have. Make every day count. Make every breath mean something. Don't waste your life. Live it full, give it all, and leave nothing undone. You were born to make an impact, so go out there and do exactly that.